Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg. I hope you guys are ready to unpack and get into some good conversations today.
And I'm Jess, and this is our podcast, Baggage Claim. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us on Baggage Claim. Glad you guys are back, or maybe if it's your first time here, thank you for joining us. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, I want to encourage you just to grab your favorite drink, whatever that may be. Maybe a sweet tea if you're in the South, maybe a tea infused with something a little bit more if you've had a rough week, whatever that is, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, if you're driving, if you're somewhere else, just proverbially kind of just think of yourself. Yeah, just pull up to our table and just chill and hang out because we're getting in today.
If you're like me, we're in May.
All right, if you're like Jess is on in school mode, so she's going to be probably off the chain the next couple of weeks of recording.
I'm not trying to be, but May's here. And if you're a teacher like me, we're in end game. Well, if you're early grades education teacher like me, K through 2, we're on the end game.
You know what's interesting to me? Teachers get more pumped for this time of year than they do for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you guys are just trying to hold the wheels on.
We are.
And make it look like you're actually working. Sorry, teachers. I know you work all the time.
We are.
I know you guys are really just killing it.
We are.
You're lining up those
hard.
TV shows, those movies to watch, those camping days, those. I know you're lining those, and that's okay. I'm okay with it.
Number one, you're omitting our Kindle book wish list.
Who?
The Kindle, the wish list for our books that we want to read in the summer.
Oh.
Those of us who do that.
I don't know where in the world you came up with that.
You said you're lining up this and that and the other, and we're kicking off, and we're blah, blah, blah. But.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said.
I'm building my wish list on my Kindle.
So what's your number one book?
Yeah, what is your number one book?
You said this, I gotta ask now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a number one book, but.
Come on.
But there's an author I am reading because of one of my teammates. Frida McFadden. She writes the most unhinged books that you think that you know what's happening, and then when you're in there, it's like, she switches point of view. And then you're like, okay, I've got it figured out. And then it switches again. You never know what. And also, it wasn't even our teammate. It was our daughter, Callie. And one of my teammates also reads that. Reads her whole situation.
Right.
I'm sorry. If you can hear me clicking,
If you're watching a video, Jess is like an ADD mess right now.
I'm fidgeting.
She's like, get that girl some Ritalin or something.
I'm fidgeting so hard with the cap on my pen. But our daughter, Callie, recommended this author, and then one of my teammates also reads this author. Her books just are a whole mind situation. You think you know what's going on, and she tells it from the point of view of one character, and then she switches, and it's a whole nother character, and then it was like, okay, I feel like I know what's going on, and then you don't.
Okay.
But the author is Frida McFadden, and it has nothing to do with anything we've ever talked about. But
that's okay. At least I'm glad you enjoy it.
Anywho, you were talking about teachers, and at the end of the year.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I was. Wow. Bro.
And the school system that I'm in, we've got 13 minus a day. We've got 12 days left of school, and it's a lot.
Well, we just spent a long weekend with our oldest child, Callie, and her husband. Well, we got to spend a day with Charles in Pensacola, which is awesome just to go hang out down in Pensacola with them. Weather was amazing.
But Callie teaches middle school.
Yeah, she's
her
middle school.
Her husband teaches high school.
Yes.
I teach elementary school, so there's the gamut.
And I don't teach anything.
Me.
Right.
Me. You probably teach me.
Yeah.
Not probably you. You teach me. But there's just so many stories. And even today when I got home, there was a lot of stories.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
share the
sharing.
stories.
No. Because there's special secrets for my classroom.
Right.
But it's just, It's a lot. Even with 6 and 7 year olds, I come home and I'm just like done.
So
Anyway.
wow.
It's
Thank you guys
the
for
life we
okay,
live
so
in.
thank you guys for joining us. We are just so you know, we are broadcasting from this incredible place of Thomas's old bedroom.
Yes.
Of our house.
And
I mean, this is high end stuff.
If you tune in physically,
Yeah, if you're watching.
Every time you've probably watched, I've got my hair slicked back in a ponytail. I've got some sort of oversized sweatshirt or oversized t-shirt.
We really get dressed up for our podcast.
It's a lot.
We really go overboard with our outfits. So I have a t-shirt on.
I've come home from the gym and then we cook supper.
Yeah, we just grilled burgers and hung out with our producer, Michael Johnson.
Woo-hoo.
And so now we're just chilling. So just so you guys know, we're doing life as we're talking about it. Yeah, we're in the same mess with you.
Yeah.
Jess will go to bed as soon as we're done because she's exhausted, tired.
100%.
And it's way past her bedtime. But anyway.
It's my bedtime right now.
It is your bedtime. So you're getting Jess on extra hours. So
You're welcome.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, man, tonight is a different episode.
It's a preview of Summer Jess. I'm sorry.
So we're tonight we're going to talk about intentionality.
Yeah.
So we share that a lot on here. We talk about being intentional with each other, being intentional with your relationships, your time, those things. So with that being said, like us jumping into our topic tonight, to talk about what it is we want to discuss at Baggage Claim, is intentional. So tell me, when I say intentional, what do you think about?
Well, there's been a lot of intentional conversations. We've been intentional with one another. We've addressed that. But one thing that we haven't talked about in depth a lot yet is being intentional with our time with the kids.
No, I ask you, when I think of the word intentional, what do you think about? Like, give me your definition.
Oh.
Intentional.
Intentional means making choices on purpose.
Okay. Gotcha. Like off of the design, there's a design, there's a purpose, I hate to use the word intention when you're talking about intentional.
You literally cannot.
Yeah, when I would do that in high school, they'd be like, you can't use the word in the definition. But it was also the idea of planning something with a purpose and design to reach a certain goal or point.
It's making a choice because you have an end goal.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah. So wherever you're at in your relationship.
This is where I thought you were going to know, because your phone is the one that we're recording on.
You are on it tonight. You are just, wow.
Here's my phone.
No, we don't have to look up the actual definition
I feel like
of
we
it.
pretty much do.
Okay, then we are. Here we are. So
said,
this is where we're at tonight.
I said what my definition of intentional is.
Okay, and so what, you want me to read this one?
Because that's what we did in our planning meeting. I'm a teacher. So what we do in our planning meeting is what we do in real life.
We're sticking to the plan. Okay. Intentional means done with purpose, design, or on purpose. It's simple and conscious effort to achieve specific outcome. Synonymous includes deliberate. Oh, yeah. What? Includes deliberate, willful, and purposeful.
Okay.
So,
wait,
good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Now. One of the words that you said was simple.
Okay.
Is being intentional simple in a blended family, in our experience?
I think relationships, in essence, I think healthy relationships are simple. Like the way to achieve them are okay. Not the way to achieve them is simple. The things you need to do to achieve a healthy relationship, they're simple steps.
They should be.
Yeah, it's just it's when you add all the other things on top of it that make it complicated.
Yeah.
And it makes it, and then just when you add layer upon layer upon layer, it just gets more, it's hard.
Yeah.
But in the simplicity of it, and that's what we want to try to do, is break things down to the most simple form and say, okay, let's start here and build off of that.
Okay, so when
And the foundation.
when you and I got together, I felt like because of where we were before we met, and we knew what we both wanted. For me on my side, it felt kind of not easy, but it felt natural to be intentional with when we decided to date.
What do you mean? Like unpack that for me. What do you
Okay.
mean when we started dating? It seemed intentional. Seemed easy for you.
In previous podcasts,
Okay.
we talked about what we were looking for, and then also what we didn't know we were looking for.
Yeah, I actually understand what you're saying when you talk about intentionality. When we first got together, being intentional with mine and your time together was kind of natural. With our time, like you were a single mom, I was a single dad, being intentional with what we did with them was kind of natural for us. But when we combined all that together is a different story. So we had to take it up to a different level with that intentional.
Yeah.
And so
to reflect what you said, you and I, when we decided to get together, it was easy to make sure that you and I were intentional about talking and spending time together. Then when we were together as a whole family, all 6 of us, that was obviously easy to do. It was like we were being very intentional.
Well, it was intentional for you and I. I think the intentionality for like when our family was together, we had Callie and Cody for 7 days.
Yes.
And they were with their mom for 7 days. And then Erin and Thomas were with us all the time.
Yes.
So it was kind of like we had to be intentional when Callie and Cody were with us because you get them for half the month just right off the get-go. And then even in that half month, there's times where they're like, hey, friends having a sleepover, they're having a birthday party, they're having something that's going on. So you have to plan around those things of activities we want to do as a family together. But
yeah, because we got Callie and Cody for half the time.
Correct.
We had to be really aware of that because it was kind of easy to kind of get caught up in like life and the, just the busyness of when you have sports and there's the regular routine and this and that. And then when they would have, every now and again, Callie or Cody would have a spend the night party or a birthday party where it was on like quote unquote our weekend where we had some plans or this or that. So it just made us even like what you already said that we were aware of that, but we had to be even more like kind of vigilant of making sure that the time that we all had together or the time that we had with them was even more, not necessarily,
it's more targeted.
yeah, targeted. That's a good word.
Yeah. But I think the whole turning point for us, though, kind of the crux of the moment for us where it all turned is that it was one weekend when we had Callie and Cody. Nani, which is Thomas and Erin Grace's grandmother, wanted to spend time with them. So she took them and they were going to spend some time together. And we were going to take Callie and Cody and go out and just have a night and just have some fun. And so we're at Target. I don't know why we're at Target with Callie and Cody. And just happened to be that Nani was at Target with Thomas and Erin Grace, and they saw us.
Ran into them.
Yeah, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, there y'all are!" Blah 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 blah. And they came over and they started talking, and
this
it was
early on because Erin Grace was little, and when she saw us, she kind of got emotional and was like, "I want to go with mom and dad." And,
it was really kind of one of those moments where Callie and Callie didn't do this a whole lot. She was very, very reserved.
Yes.
So Callie got very emotional and started crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And Callie would never just outright just say what was bothering her. You had to mind for that. So we started asking some questions and kind of found out. Callie was like, it just doesn't seem fair that they're with you all the time and we only get you half the time. And then this was our time for us to be with you. And then therefore now that's not even going to happen.
Now if Erin Grace wants to come home because blah, 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 Thomas will come home and then it won't be me and Cody.
Yeah. So it was an easy decision that night. It's like, okay, yeah, you guys go with Nani. We're going to go keep doing our thing, have fun.
Well,
And the
it
night
wasn't
turned
an
out.
easy decision. It was like
Well, it was an easy decision. That's what we needed to do.
because of that realization, that moment.
Right.
And that had never been presented to us yet at that point in that way.
Well, it's just your perspective of
Yes.
that changes.
Yes.
Like you get to see things from Callie or Cody's point of view versus the other kids. And so when I say it was
Yes.
easy, it was like, no, this is the decision we need to make.
Yeah.
And so we made that decision. Well, that was kind of a turning point for us to have a discussion about how we spend time with our kids and to even more intentional about what we do with them, how we do it, what that looks like, and how we are. And so,
And it was a good reflection too of what we thought looked intentional versus what it felt like on the receiving end of the kids.
yeah,
Because
because
they were
what
still
you,
really young at that point.
well, what you think it is probably different from what they think it is.
Exactly.
And so it's that whole communication thing of continuing that conversation with them. So we were on a weekend away. I think Callie and Cody were with their mom. Thomas and Erin Grace were with Nani. And so we went away for the weekend. And we were just thinking, the conversation came up. And we're
It
like,
was a good reflection point of what had just recently happened.
kind of how cool would it be if we had time away with one of our kids? What if one of our kids was here and we got to spend just time with them? And so then we just started talking and brainstorming. And so the idea came up with, okay, let's set aside a time where our kids can have 3 to 4 days of our undivided attention. We do whatever they want to do, wherever they want to do it, whatever that is, we're going to give them that time. And
So I
it's just
kind of
mine
thought
and
about,
you.
okay, what's a big milestone for a kid? And it was a sweet 16 because there's always, well, traditionally, there's a quote unquote always a party for a sweet 16 or a quinceañera or something like that. And so I was like, okay, what about for our kids? So what if we do a sweet 16 getaway with just that one kid and us?
Yeah. And so the idea is like you have 3 to 4 days, and within reason, we'll do whatever it is you want to do.
So when we first brought up this idea, talking about it with the kids, Cody said, can we go to Japan?
Yeah. He's immediately went
Immediately.
like international. Like, yeah, let's go to Japan. And I was like, whoa, okay, wait a minute.
Hang on.
Thank you. We got to put some restrictions on this.
Yeah,
so
so
it
we
was like
decided
anywhere
for
in
the-
the continental U.S.
Yeah.
We will go. Because we didn't have a whole lot of money then either. Like,
No.
we're just trying to bootstrap this together and make it work. And
Yeah.
so I don't even know how we were going to pay for these trips. We're like, how's this going to work? But we're said, okay, 16th birthday, anywhere in the continental U.S., you get 3 to 4 days of our time, and we're going to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And so that set it off. Callie was the very first one to kick off the celebration, and she was like, I want to go to New York. And so
we were like, okay, yeah, great idea.
yeah, we're like, that sounds like an amazing. And Callie is a January baby.
girl.
And so we're like, okay, we'll go in January. And so we planned the trip.
We tried to plan it so it'd be around Christmas time.
Yeah. it
So
was just-
everything would still be decorated and all. But in that investigation, it just
financially, it was just not doable.
We're
so
a
we're
big
like-
family. We had to figure it out.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, we can't go in Christmas. We'll go at your birthday. And so I love planning the trip. So I asked her, what do you want to do? And she was like, I want to go to see a movie on Broadway.
Not a movie, a show.
A show,
Yeah.
sorry, not a movie, show. Thank you. I want to go. I want to go to Central Park, and then she wanted to eat at this place where they had.
The frozen hot chocolate. It's
Frozen
called
hot-
Serendipity.
Yes, and so we're like, okay, that's it. She's like, yeah, that's all.
She had very touristy.
Yes, and she's like,
ideas,
I want to go see
as she
these
should.
things, and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And so I used to travel a lot and for work, and I had this idea. I was like, cool, I want to have I'll rent a car instead of doing a taxi or Uber. I'll rent a car that some guy's holding Callie's name when she gets off. And so they're like, oh, Callie Peck, that's awesome. So I reached out to this company and told them, hey, this is what we're doing. We're celebrating your birthday.
Note, your actual name is Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck, yes. And I don't know if you know, but Gregory Peck was a famous old school actor. So I made sure to use my full name when making reservations at any of the restaurants or any of the things in New York. And
it was a handful of times.
Yeah, there were a few times where people were like, "Oh, Gregory Peck," and
like, oh no, it's me.
Yeah, and so it was but we get to the airport and there's a guy holding the sign, Callie, and Callie's like, "Oh my gosh, that's our car," and I was like, "Yeah, that's our car." So we were walking to the car, and I had gotten us just a little town car,
just like a regular town car.
Yeah, just a 4-door little sedan, like black sedans, cool. Well, we get there and there's this massive stretch limo, and we get in the back. And there's
I immediately look at you.
There's bubbly stuff everywhere. Like, hey, here's some sparkling, like grape juice and some other. And I was just like, oh my God.
I look at you and I'm like, what did you do?
Yeah. So I
knew what the budget was and I knew what we had already reserved.
Yeah. So I was like, there's no way
a limo was
afford
not what
this.
we had reserved.
Yeah. I was like, the whole ride. I couldn't even enjoy the ride to there because I was thinking, there's no way I can afford this. I must have upcharged that.
It was good.
So we rode and we got a little boutique hotel and down like maybe a block and a half. What was the name of do you remember the name of
the Warwick?
The Warwick. Amazing place.
If you're it
is. If you're still in New York, the Warwick was an amazing boutique hotel there.
Yeah.
A couple of blocks from Central Park.
A 5-star rating.
Yeah.
With our whole experience.
We get there, the guy drops us off, and I was just like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to eat or do anything because I just bought a limo.
Do any of our plans work?
Yeah. And so the guy was just like, I was like, hey, did I order this or was this a mistake? And he's like, no, we saw that it was her 16th birthday, so we upgraded you free of charge. We just wanted to do that for you. So I tipped the guy really well.
Yeah.
I was super excited about that. Then we go into the hotel, and they're just like, oh, hey, Callie, we're so excited to celebrate your 16th birthday with us. We decided to upgrade you to this.
Which, thankfully, you had emailed them ahead of time.
I did.
And the good daddy that you are, be like, hey, we're coming up here for our daughter's 16th. And
looking for things to do.
Yes.
Help make the reservations. So they upgraded us into this massive 2-bedroom hotel. Like one side was like a living room, tables, everything. And
we had a whole living room, dining room, kitchenette, and then the whole separate bedroom area with our 2 queen beds that we had requested. That's all we wanted.
Yeah.
And it was a whole
So anyway, we're just like,
situation.
Oh my gosh. Well, then they sent up this plate of chocolate covered strawberries that had happy birthday, sweet 16.
Happy 16th, Callie, or whatever it was.
Like that. And it was just like, oh my gosh. We went and saw Wicked. We went and ate at the Tavern on the Green.
We did.
Which was amazing. We had amazing time.
The Italian restaurant that we ate at before our show, that was just
phenomenal.
Beyond.
But it also snowed, like a massive snowstorm. It was the second largest snowstorm in New York history.
Yeah.
Shut down the city, like it sent everybody home.
Shut down public transportation, which is the second time ever that's ever happened.
It was kind of crazy because we were like, we're on Fifth Avenue and we're like taking selfies in the middle of the street and there's no one there.
Cars.
It's like a ghost town.
We had bought tickets to some public events like the One World Tower and a couple other things that we had, thank goodness, got refunded for. But there was all these big plans.
Yeah.
And, it didn't matter because all Callie knew was...
Yeah, it just snowed. So we had
that we were there for her.
Yeah, it could have been bad, but it turned out to be an amazing, fun time. We got to leave on time. We got to come home. Tons of
barely.
Tons of snow, tons of fun stuff.
Well, including one of the walks in Central Park because it was so close to our hotel that you had gotten us. One of the times we were walking in Central Park, I was trying to be all cute and social media cute and write happy sweet 16th or Callie 16th or whatever in the snowbank that were as tall as we were. And we don't know how to dress for snow because we just don't have that here. And my boots didn't have a grip at all. And so when I was leaning forward to write that in there, I got about halfway through and my whole self fell into the snowbank.
Yeah, which was very entertaining for Callie and I.
Yes.
To just see Jess's feet sticking out of the snow.
Only my feet.
And we laughed for a little bit. I
Yeah.
don't know that we took a picture, but before
I
we
don't
helped her
know.
out. But
there is a picture of what I was trying to write.
yes.
But I don't know if there was a picture of me because y'all were kind enough to get me out of it.
So it was a ton of fun. We had a blast. So we're like, all right, there's one kid down.
Yeah.
Next year rolls around.
Literally the next year.
The next year it was Thomas, and Thomas was like, I don't care where we go. I don't care. I just want it to be fun adventure. And I was like, what do you
Outside adventure.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, got you, boo. I got it. We're going to do what we do. And so we went to Asheville, North Carolina, and we went zip lining on some of the largest zip lines I could find, which was fun for me because I used to build zip lines. And so it was really fun to go find some ones that I really liked and wanted to go ride. So we did zip lines and outside of Asheville. Stayed in
Mind you, at that point, I had never ridden a zip line in my life. And neither
Yeah.
had Thomas.
Yeah, and these weren't like little bitty.
No.
It was Navitat's zip lines outside of Asheville, which they do a
They're
phenomenal
like the
job.
longest in the Southeast.
Well, they were at that
that
time.
point.
They were there. It was
Yeah.
pretty amazing. But this was years and years ago. They did a great job. We had a blast. We stayed in a little cool boutique hotel in
did.
Asheville. We ate, and then we went mountain biking the next day on some ridiculous mountain bike trails.
I tried so hard to keep up with you guys.
Yeah, and so we were mountain biking at the time. Thomas was on a mountain bike team, and I was a coach, and so we rode a lot.
Yeah, and that particular day, I tried to keep up with you guys, and I went what I would have felt like was a quarter away. I kept up with y'all, and then there was a sign that said triple black diamond, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn around because that means it's really, really hard. And I just went back to our truck and I just was reading till you got back there. And I was thankful that you all got back safe
We
and
did.
in one piece. But like you had like some rib injuries from the
Yeah, I went off,
handlebars.
and the handlebar went in the rib, and Thomas and I got separated. We had
It was the whole thing.
it was fun, but it was rough. That was so tough. And then we load up in the car, and the next day we go whitewater rafting
Yeah.
on the Cody. And Jess wasn't a big whitewater rafter.
No,
Thomas had
I
never
was
been.
scared out of my mind.
And so we went whitewater rafting, had a blast, and then Thomas wanted to end in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And
but
so-
in the meantime, at one of these places, when I was trying to help navigate and then find a place to stay, there was one place that was not that great.
Yeah. Most of the places were awesome. There was one that was sketch.
It was sketch.
Just lay on top
and
of the-
because they were gentlemen, they would let me go ahead to shower and clean up and all the things. And I was like, you know what? This is scary. And it feels a little unsafe. And not because I was not outside the room or whatever, but it was just like one of those places where like, do I need flip-flops or do I not flip-flop? Whatever. But anyway, there were some bumps in the road.
Yes, definitely. But it was a fun trip. But then we left from whitewater rafting, drove to downtown Atlanta because there were some things Thomas wanted to do in downtown Atlanta. And so we did some adventures there.
We did.
And had a blast. But I will say this, at the end of his trip, I felt like I had been beat up. Like
It was
I was
exhausting.
exhausted. Like I was so tired. Physically, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I love you and we've had a blast, but bro,
This was a lot.
yeah, I need a nap.
Yeah.
So we had so much fun, had a blast. Then it was up to Cody,
Yeah.
and Cody was like, I want to go to California.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, cool. We're off to California. I was like, what do we want to do in California? He's like, Cody loved to skimboard. And he's like, I don't know. I just want to go up the coast.
And he was fascinated with surfing.
Yeah, he said, I want to see the West Coast. I want to see California. We're like, done.
Well, and you had also taught him that like skimboarding, what he was fascinated in, had originated on the West Coast.
Well, there was on the south end down at Laguna Beach.
Yeah.
So we flew into LAX. We rented a car. We went down to Laguna Beach, and we found the surf shop, which was crazy enough that the surf shop, the guy who owned the surf shop, was from the beach, Tybee
St.
Island.
Simons.
No, it's
Tybee Island.
right outside of St.
Yeah.
Simons. He's from Tybee Island.
Yeah.
And had moved out there, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me? Like from Georgia?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Bro,
Where we rented the skimboard.
yeah." So we
for that
rented the
day.
skimboard
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah.
We went out and skimboarded, and Cody was a little gun shy because
Laguna Beach was different. Than
it was completely different from everything else he had ever known.
Number one, the water's cold.
Yeah, it's very, very cold,
Yeah.
and the waves were breaking maybe 5 feet off the shore.
Up your nose.
Yeah, like big shore
Right
breaks.
there. Yeah.
And he was just like, and there's these little kids that are like maybe 7 that are just ripping it.
Yeah.
And Cody's like, I'm 16. I don't want to look like an idiot for these guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think he got a ride or two in, and we're like, okay, cool, let's carry it back.
Yeah.
And so we
rode quite a bit up the PCH, the Pacific
we
Coast
dropped
Highway.
the board off and just started driving up.
Just magnificent.
I mean, even from the scene, like we said, hey, you have free reign over these 3 to 4 days. So we told him, I was like, hey, you've got the music, you got the playlist while we drive.
Yeah.
You man the music. And I was like, we're just driving. I was like,
the most fun thing is though, even though they had the big idea of where they wanted to go, and a lot of them had a few specific things that they were looking at,
right.
and what they were after. But in general, it was up to you and I to plan. But also that goes back to that word we keep saying over and over again, that being intentional to make sure we plan that time with that child to speak to what those needs were or those wants and desires were.
So my job was to plan the overall trip.
Yes.
The big things. Your job was to, while we're driving, find us a place we're going to stay that night.
Yeah.
And so
sometimes I was successful, and sometimes I was just not. Like the one with Thomas and the one we were a little scared of.
Yeah.
But
we had some good ones in California.
Yeah,
we're
but
driving.
for Cody, when we weren't quite sure what we were doing, me mainly, we looked up on one of the ones.
Well, one night we're just jamming. I mean, we are jamming.
Having a big time.
We got the windows down. Cody's got
Yes.
the music cranked. We're driving through the mountains. It's dark. Like, it's in the middle of the night. It's probably like 8, 9. I have no idea where I'm at.
Literally nothing, just up the Pacific Coast Highway.
Just motoring. And all of a sudden I look up and there's blue lights. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Blue lights?
Yeah.
Pull over. And
We were going so fast.
I was pulling. The guy goes, "Where you going?" I was like, "That's actually a great question."
I don't know.
Yeah,
We 100% don't know. And I remember you turning your phone to him. He was like, "You're not from here, are you?"
No, I showed him the
No,
rental
sir.
agreement. He goes, "You're not from here." I was like, "Absolutely not." And he goes, "All right." And we're standing there, and he goes, "License." And so I'm giving him my
meanwhile, I'm trying
stuff.
to pull up where I had found reservations for us for the evening.
So I'm trying to get all the information to give to the cop.
And then this
So I give it
person,
to the cop, and he's reading it and he's looking at it. We're having a conversation. Like,
Yeah, he was
he's very
kind.
nice.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? It's a ticket. So he's writing the ticket. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to give you a warning. And I
As
was like,
he's
thank you.
saying
So
that.
he's writing the ticket, and this dude just motors
It was
through
a
this.
4-way stop. In the
Motors through
middle of
the
nowhere.
4-way stop. He
Yeah.
literally takes the ticket, throws it in the window, and is like, have a good night.
Never
and
mind.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
runs back, jumps on his bike, and takes
Yeah.
off after this guy. And I was like, well, that worked out. And
Okay,
so,
great. We're just-
and so I think Cody actually
He has the ticket.
kept that ticket
Yeah, he
in
has
his
it.
memories. But we went into this place called Morro Bay.
Yeah.
We had no idea it was dark. We get into
No.
there. It was this little cool hotel. And it was just we wake up the next morning. It was just really, the people were super sweet that we rented the place from.
Left us in our key in a lock box and this whole
Sweet notes
thing.
to us.
Yeah.
But we get out the next morning and I was like, where are we at?
It
This
was
place
a
is,
magical wonderland.
yeah, it was beautiful. Like the mountains just were dumping into the ocean. There's
And
this
the
big,
bay where we were in had these giant rock formations
it
in
just
the middle.
shot out of the water. It was the most beautiful,
Yeah.
cool thing. And we're like, okay, well, let's go find breakfast.
Yeah.
And so we start wandering down through the town. And lucky, Cody is a huge skateboarder.
There was
Loves
a skateboard
skateboarding.
museum there.
So the skateboard museum, I was like, dude, it's where we're going after breakfast. So we go down and we sit at this incredibly beautiful restaurant where
The three of us kept saying, "Is this real life?"
yeah, we're sitting out there. It's like the sun's. I mean, it's coming up. It's beautiful. There's rocks, the big old rocks, the ocean. We're right on the side of the ocean. Food was amazing.
Yeah.
They even had a little heater that came out underneath your feet.
So I
We're
wasn't
standing
freezing to
there.
death.
And I was just like, okay, this is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then we went to the skateboard museum, and then ultimately we wound up in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
The whole idea for Cody was we were going to end in Santa Cruz because he was a huge skateboard guy, and we were carrying him to the Santa Cruz board shop. If you're a skateboarder, you know that's
You know.
super cool. It's like
It's
a
one
mecca.
of those, like, if you know, you know.
Yeah, it's just a place you want to be. And so we went to Santa Cruz. We did a
And that was a super cool, like, half a day experience.
And so we did we went to the board shop, and then we did surf lessons. So we did a surfing. Cody and I surfed at Santa Cruz while Jess sat on the beach and froze to death.
I did.
We had a blast. It's so much fun.
Watching these 5-year-olds frolic in the frigid water with bathing suits on, and I was freezing.
So we hung out in Santa Cruz and had a blast. We jumped in it, you know, we come home. We made it to LAX in the middle of the night. We slept all the way home because we were exhausted. Amazing trip, fun. Fell in love. I'd move back to Santa Cruz tomorrow if I could. It's beautiful. I couldn't afford it.
And then the fourth one, we went back to New York.
And Grace was like, I want to go back to New York.
It's so fun that the bookend trips were New York because they were so different.
Yes, very different.
Yeah, Erin Grace had these specific boutiques and these specific stops that she wanted to make, like Callie did, but they were very, very different. But the commonality was they wanted to go see a show on Broadway.
Yep.
But the best part is that since we knew the place where we took Callie Girl for her dinner before Broadway, we took Erin Grace for her dinner before her Broadway show, and she was equally impressed.
Yeah, same place.
Yes.
Amazing. People are amazing there.
And it was literally on Erin Grace's birthday. And it was so cute because the staff knew that it was her birthday, and they obviously didn't know her name. So when they sang happy birthday to her, they said, "Happy birthday, total stranger." And it was such a good memory.
We went to Phantom of the Opera that
We
night.
did. And it was the final year of the showing. And we got to see some touristy sites that Erin Grace had on her list that Callie did not have on her list. Like, it was just so fun.
Well, we went to the one tower.
We did go to the one tower.
Where we tried to go.
One World Trade.
Yes, and when we went to the museum, the 9/11 museum. We tried to do that with Callie, but this got snowed out.
Yeah.
But when we went with Erin, phenomenal,
at that
amazing.
Point, and I feel like that was kind of a God moment too, because at that point when Callie was going, it was just because of what had happened to our country and just, honor and memoriam too. But when Erin Grace was going, Thomas, our oldest son, had already started on his firefighter journey. And so seeing that then was very, it just brought it to life of what one of our kids had chosen to do for his own career.
Yeah.
It was just a whole different experience.
Phenomenal.
Of
If
what
you go to
it would
New York,
have been
you got to
4
see
years
that.
prior.
Yeah. You got to go see those things.
You do.
I mean, go to the South End, go to the park. You can look at Statue of Liberty down there. All those things are amazing. The one tower was just phenomenal.
It was. It's life-changing.
Such
It
a
really
cool
is.
experience. We went to, she wanted ramen noodles from Chinatown, so we rode the subway to Chinatown.
Yeah, and
got ramen noodles.
One of the things on her list at that point in her life was a specific boutique. And so as we went from Chinatown to get the for real ramen, and we went to the boutique, and you were waiting outside.
Yeah, I wasn't about to go into the boutique because I was
No.
boutiqued out. That's what Erin wanted to go into.
That was
Every
her
clothing.
thing.
I was like, I love you, sweetie, but I'm going to wait outside. Well,
Yeah.
I'm out there eating these noodles, and I guess I look like a local because I was wrapped up, and this couple came up, and they're just like, hey, where's so-and-so? I had no freaking idea what they were talking
And then
about.
what did you pretend like?
I gave my best New York accent that I thought, I'm from Georgia, so I tried to do my best New York accent.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, you go down here about 2 streets, take a right, and then you take your first left, it's right there on the right. And there's
They
like, oh, thank you
believed
so
you.
much.
Bless their
Thank you
little
so much.
hearts.
I was like, you guys have a great day. Just eating my noodles. I had no idea. Bless. For you couple, I'm sorry. It was fun, but it was a lot. But anyway, we did Subway. We had
all the things.
so much fun.
Well, at that point, we kind of toyed with the idea of like, what if we do a trip when they turn 21?
Yeah. But
But our oldest two got married when they were 21.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, that changes things.
yeah, it was when we came home with Erin, it was a week later when everything shut down in New York
For COVID.
and it was like everything hit from that.
It was
So
literally
everything
the
changed.
same week.
Yeah. It was like 7 days later. So it was crazy,
Yeah.
crazy time. But we say that to say, I mean, those are our fun trips we did.
Yes.
But we also had very, very intentional, small things we did with our kids on a weekly basis that weren't huge, that weren't massive. You don't have to spend, because I know you're probably out there going, bro, I'm not spending money to go to New York.
I mean,
California.
there were some stories that we talked about that we haven't even talked about now during the recording of like I had girls' days with the girls where we would go and get our nails done and we would go shopping and things like that on a regular basis that I would just do for girls' day. And you had boys' days and guys' time.
Yeah, and boys' days, we would either go fishing, and then we would go eat some really trashy food that the girls would never eat, like
Never.
Crystals, or somewhere that the girls just were like, that's gross. So we were like, we're going to go eat there. Our first trip to Crystals, it was Corey Anderson was with us. We went fishing, went to Crystal, and Thomas starts crying, bless his heart.
He hates this story.
And Corey's like, why are you crying? He goes, my mom never lets me eat Crystals. And Corey's like, just shut up and eat that.
Yeah.
Corey was not, he was younger then. He didn't have kids. And he was
But I mean, I feel like you probably backed him up on that.
and so it was funny. But we would
I've been a
have,
single mama for a long time, and I thought Crystal was gross. So of course, I'm not going to take him to Crystal.
and so, but guys' days consisted of, my family had a lot of land. So sometimes we'd just go shoot skeet.
Yeah.
And just go hang out. Like we would go do just fun guy things. Anything. Sometimes we'd go to just any kind of thing that sounded fun as guys.
Yeah.
And so
Same thing for us when I had the girls, just me and Erin.
and
Grace
sometimes it was
and
simple
Callie.
things, like we were in the backyard
Yeah.
and the boys would just hang out while you ladies went and done something simple.
We
So
go
it's not
shopping or
about,
go get our nails done. It's not about a big thing.
no, we did our 16th trips because we wanted those to be something big and memorable.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is being intentional with every single moment you have, whether that's on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, not just when they turn 16. Don't wait for that one moment. There's tons of moments. You get to embrace those and have those times. So.
Yeah. So to kind of bring us to the unpack portion of this, we've had a great time retelling our stories because they are fun. But the intentionality behind the stories is what makes them so memorable for us and the kids. Because all 4 of them still talk about, this many years later, they still talk about their trips because it was just them.
Yeah.
And they all 4 still talk about even just a regular, quote unquote, everyday things that we would do with them, like Crystal or swimming or fishing, or when I would take the girls to go get our nails done or go shopping or whatever. It's not just like one more thing to do on your list of things to do, because if you're in the thick of a blended family like we were at that point, it's more than just one more thing to do.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
It's the thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't mean it to be that in one of those ways. I watched a TikTok the other day, and man, it's so interesting, but it just hit me right where I was at. And it was like, it was a lady speaking, and it was like, I can't wait till my kids can, bathe themselves. I can't wait till they move out. I can't wait till they do this. I can't wait till they do that. And it showed her with her adult kids, and she was basically like, don't be happy where you're at in the moment you're at. Don't wish for the happiness to come. Be happy where you're at. And I think that's the intention. The intentionality behind it is like, you get to decide, you get to make those decisions, you get to be targeted
You do.
for the outcomes with your kids. enjoy them, whether it's you're at a ball field, whether you're at a cheer competition, whether you're traveling, whether you're not, whether you're just, you get to spend some time, be intentional about how you're spending your time and who you're spending it with. And
people say it all the time, but you don't realize it till after the fact. So I don't mean to join the choir of the people who say, oh, you just don't realize what you got till it's gone. But it's so true.
Yeah.
It is so, so true. Because I know you and I both have talked about it multiple times. Like, we feel like we did the best we could and we enjoyed it the best we could when our kids were little. But it's kind of like, would I like to go back and do it again to make sure that we enjoyed every single second? Well, yeah, I would. But I feel pretty confident, not in a boastful way. I don't mean to sound like ugly when I say that, but I feel like we tried really, really hard.
We did. We didn't make it all, but I mean, we did the best we could.
We did.
Anything else to add?
Mainly just kind of like what we've been talking about this evening. It's like, it's not that, it's the one-on-one foundations or the one-on-one attention to little things that sets the foundation for like kind of everything. And that feels like a big statement to say, but like our grown kids who are in their mid-20s now, is wild to say. I feel like they would kind of agree with that. Like, as hard as we tried to make sure everything was equal or, blended as best as we could, there's those little bitty things that we made sure to kind of point out or support. There are the big pieces of who they are as people now.
Yeah. So, wrapping it up, thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't subscribe to our podcast, please do so. We're just doing this for the fun of it. We're just trying to spread the word. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We finally got someone internationally listening too. So
Australia.
We jumped the pond.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun.
Who do we know in Australia that listen to us? Can you please message us? Because I'm fascinated by that.
And so I would just love to say, and all of that saying, thank you so much for following us. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear something intentional you've done with your kids that you felt like was a home run.
That mattered.
Go to our social media.
Yeah.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, all those good things. Go there, share your story because I want to hear it. We would love to hear, and other people too would love to have some ideas, some things they can help build some intentional, fun ideas around wherever they're at. So please share. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.